the tax and legal expert, with our company. So he talks about, as an accountant, what would he be comfortable with somebody doing as a strategy. So in this case, and you know what, we don't have much time. I'll try to go through this fairly quick. I want to show you some, guys want to see some screenshots of that software program I was talking about? So I'll get that, towards the end a little bit. I've got some screenshots and kind of see. Okay, so here's, something's missing. Look that's me, right? Well, not quite. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh, you know what? When I did this, I didn't have glasses, so yeah, I have to do that one again. Okay, so anyway, here's the individual. So let's say that you've got your home, you've got your car. This above the line is just your individual personal finances, and then you have maybe an S corp. Maybe you market for Renatus or other company. You do some work. You've got an S corp and you've got an LLC. This is long term. We teach you long term and short term income. Okay, so let's say you're an owner, again, individual, and you own these two. Now, how can you pay off your mortgage? Well, if you're working and you have a HELOC and you're trying to pay off your individual home, you could take your net income from your properties, okay, your net income, that means after expenses, what you would pay yourself anyway, that can go in to reduce the average daily balance in the HELOC, right? Also, if you have, let's say, a marketing business, an S corp, same thing. You can take your net income, and I keep stressing net because you don't want to commingle. This is what you'd be paying yourself anyway on a monthly basis, and then that could go to the HELOC to help pay off that home. So that's a pretty easy strategy or an easy configuration to kind of figure out. Does everybody kind of see that? If you have a business, just take that net, just like your income. It could be W-2 income, but in this case, it's your business income. That's how you can help pay off your personal home. But it gets a little bit more complicated, all right? If you want to do this way, is this the same? Let's see, HELOC. Oh, okay. So this is what Mark, I was kind of surprised that Mark was willing to be this aggressive, but he's a pretty aggressive accountant, and he knows the tax law as well. In this case, he's okay and will approve it if he's doing your taxes, and your accountant, you should ask them. But he's okay if you wanted to use your personal HELOC to pay off an investment property owned by your LLC. He's okay with doing that, but here's why. He's going to allocate the amount of interest that was used to pay this. He's going to do that as a business expense, and it's going to be separate from your personal expenses. So let's say you're doing this strategy and you put $15,000 on this home. He's going to calculate during the course of the year how much interest you paid on that $15,000, and that interest is he's going to apply it to your LLC, okay? He's good, he's comfortable with that. You could get your own tax and legal advice, but Mark is pretty knowledgeable. So I'm good with that as well as far as passing that information on to you. Here's another way to do it, better way to do it. If you could get a HELOC on an investment property, which is rare, you're probably more likely to get a business line of credit, which again, Bob teaches and harps on all the time. A business line of credit, if you could get a business line of credit or a HELOC on one of your investment properties, what you could do then is you could dump in the gross rents. It makes it more powerful because now, let's say the net rent of each one of these houses on this other example, the net rent going in, let's say on, this one, the net rent, it's probably easier to see it this way. The net rent going in might only be $200 per property. So you're only getting $600 into that HELOC to stay in there as long as it can and to cancel out debt. And it's good, don't get me wrong, but this is better because now you can put the gross rents in there until you pay for your insurance for your houses, until you pay your contractors, until you pay your utilities if you're paying utilities, lawn keep, upkeep, whatever. So you can put the gross rent. So now instead of just $600 being in there, $1,300 is going in, $1,500 is going in, $1,400 is going in, and staying as long as possible. Then, and I show this on a later slide, instead of paying them directly, you might want to use your business debit or Visa card, and that gives you a 30-day float before you get any interest on that. I've got another slide that's going to talk about interest float in a little bit more depth. But anyway, that's a way that you could do it and pay off a business property, okay, income property. Right, either directly or through a credit card, right. Well, no, all of these could feed into one line of credit. I mean, you could have them separate, but it's actually, I think, be better to have one. Well, yep. Okay. Oh, wait, did somebody else? I thought I had one more hand. Okay. So same thing with a business line of credit. It would work the same way, right? We get $15,000, we transfer the funds over, and now, though, we get to save that $66,000 and cancel out interest, 45 payments, but we're putting in all those gross rents into there. So that's what your business would do. Here's an example of that 30-day float. Okay, and this doesn't matter if it's business or personal. You know, you could have your paycheck, you get paid, you put it into your checking account, you transfer it to the HELOC, and then you pay bills out of your HELOC. Believe me, that's a good system, right? But think about it. Remember I told you about leveraging other people's money? Aren't the credit cards letting you use their money for 30 days free, right? If you pay off that balance every 30 days, you're not paying any interest. So you could hang on to that money. Instead of making all those credit card payments, the $2,400 that you have to pay during the course of the month, if you don't have a balance on your credit card right now, and some people I know in the room have credit cards that don't have credit card balances, think about it though. With this strategy, you could utilize the bank's money for 30 days every single month. So in this case, the money could go in the HELOC, and it could sit in the HELOC, and you could make your bill payments with your credit card, and just before the 30-day mark hits, boom, now your HELOC balance goes up and you're paying interest. So you could float the bank's money for 30 days without interest. And usually that's not, really, and usually that's not a big deal unless you combine it with this, because you're like, oh, it's just sitting in my checking account anyway. What's the big deal floating? Well, no, think about it. Now we can cancel out interest, whether it's a 4.5% interest rate on a HELOC, or you're doing it with transferring into your debt of your amortized mortgage, which could be thousands and thousands of dollars that you're canceling out. Okay? All right. So what are the potential results? I have a demo account in addition to my personal account of the software. I have a demo account so I can do kind of some like what if scenarios. Look at what the impact could have on your Renatus business. This is an example of a 30-year. I already did this once, so I kept the 6% interest rate that was already in there. 6% at $200,000 mortgage. If you have discretionary income of $150,000, remember I said you have to earn more than what you make. If you're only earning $150 more a month than what you make, here's what could happen. You could actually buy the combo pack, put it on there, $20,000, buy the combo pack, and still pay off your mortgage and the combo pack in 15.1 years. Potential savings that you'll save in interest, $114,000. So those are real numbers going into the software system. So if you're like, oh man, 20,000, should I make that jump? Should I not make the jump? Well, if you make the jump, this way you could buy that combo pack. And I think on here, one of these, I actually have the price of the software too, that you could also buy the software as well. Now, we think about, well, if I buy a rental property, that's great, but I'm going to be in debt longer, right, because I got a mortgage on that. Well, no, because now you can leverage the cash flow of that income property. Same scenario. Your personal home, you got a $200,000 mortgage at 6%, 30-year amortization. You only have $150 discretionary income, but you bought a rental property, one rental property for $80,000. You're paying 6.5% interest because rental properties are going to be more. And the rent's $1,500, you pay taxes of $400. I put all those numbers in the demo system, and this is what it comes out to. 11.2%. What was it before? 15.1 with just your house being paid off. Now you have your house paid off and a rental property paid off in less time. Okay? 11.2%. All right? That was just based on this and looking at average, maintenance and so forth, all right? I went one more. What happens with 2, all right? At 2, you have your mortgage paid off of your personal property, 2 rental properties paid off, and you're paying it at 9.7, actually accelerating your total payoff. Not only you're debt-free on your personal home, you're debt-free on 2 rental properties. Now, it doesn't keep going down. Unfortunately, when I get to 30 properties, it doesn't instantly pay off, okay? There'll be a point where it will stop. But I don't know what that point is, but I know I just went to two properties and I'm down to under 10 years having both of them paid off. Okay? Here's some of the features, so I'm going to show real quick some of the features of the software program. One thing that we'll do, well, first of all, I'm going to talk about this. This is important because remember I said about discipline and focus and motivation. There was something called the, well, they used to just refer to it as the Harvard study, the Harvard University study. It started back in the 70s, and what they did is they interviewed students that were about to graduate from Harvard. So they're all Harvard grads, right? You figure all of them are going to be successful, right? So they interview the students and they ask a bunch of questions about their background, about their income of their families, what type of occupations they're going to do. So they compile all this information. And 20 years later, they go back and interview the same students, and they also pull their financials. They agreed to submit their financials. So they looked at people's financials. They looked at, you know, their interview process. When they interviewed, they asked them, are they happy and do they feel fulfilled, and all these questions. Well, the subjective things were astonishing, that they were all, wow, the certain group of people, they were happier, they seemed to be more satisfied in their careers, everything. And what they looked at, the financials, that same group also was 3% of the entire graduation class. 3% of the students earned more money than the 97% combined. They're all Harvard graduates. What separated the 3% from the 97% of the other Harvard graduates? The 3% had written goals and a written plan to get there. Okay? And they looked at those plans often, daily, regularly. The reason I bring that up is one of the features of the software program, every time you log in, you have a dashboard that tells you how many years to pay off. It becomes a game. You're focused. Oh my gosh, it's 7.4. What if I didn't get the mobile plan that I was thinking about doing? What if I didn't do this? What if I did that? How much more could I save? How much more could I get my net worth to increase? It gives you the discretionary income. I can also do one that tells me the exact month and year that I'll be debt-free. And that's fun to look at, all right? You log in and, oh, wow, I just knocked off another month. I just knocked off another year. I just knocked off another. So it's that focus. It's just like the Harvard graduates. It's that focus and have a plan to get there. This is the plan. It gives you a written action plan. Follow this step. Look, it's to the penny. Pay this amount to the penny. It's going to transfer. When you transfer, when you do the next transfer, it tells you what day to the penny is the optimal amount based on your finances. Now, it's only as good as the information you put in there, so you need to be accurate in putting it in. So that's some of the things. Another thing it does is it has true cost. You can click a button, and like this is an expense, your phone bill. Well, it's $135 a month, but the true cost of that is $226 a month. And the way they're calculating true cost is if you took that $135 and put it towards your debt, it would save you over $200 per month. So it makes you a smarter consumer. Doesn't mean you're not going to do it, but you're going to know the long-term impact. If I told you right now, what would be the long-term impact of you financially if you bought the $15,000 car and your payments were, $300 a month, or you bought the $10,000 car and your payments were $199 a month? What would be the long-term impact of that, and how would that affect the date that you're going to be debt-free? Would you know? No, you wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. This knows. This, you put in those two scenarios. What if I bought this car and this is my payment? It doesn't mean you're not going to buy the nicer car, but you're going to know. You're going to be an informed consumer of how that's going to affect your personal finances for the rest of your life. Okay? So true cost is in there. Here's a what-if scenario. You can just put it in there. What if I do this? What if I buy the furniture? What if I buy the new furniture versus the used furniture, or this set versus that one? Okay? It gives you some financial reports. It also does something called strategic payoff, where it looks at all your debts. You program, you put everything in of what you owe. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 debt payoffs, and they have different interest rates, different balances, different terms. Some are open, some are closed loans. How do you know which one to pay off first? How many different combinations are there to pay off this debt? How many different combinations are there to pay off 6 debts? Does anybody know? What's that? No, but you're close. You're thinking right. It's 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. There's 720 possible combinations to line up these debts. How many of those combinations, 720, how many of those combinations is the one best way? One, okay? There's one way to do it to get you debt-free the soonest. Are you going to be able to calculate it? No, that's why I rely on the software program, because and as soon as you figured it out, it could change next month because your income might change, or another debt. Maybe you increase like your credit card debt. Now it always changes. So it's dynamic. Every time you put in an entry, it will recalculate that. So that's how you figure out the combination, all right? So if there's 3, you go 3 times 2 times 1. There's 6 if you only have 3 debts. But it exponentially increases the more you go, and at 6, it's 720, okay? So strategic payoff, it looks at, the amount that you owe, the length of the debt, the interest rate, the calculation when the payment's calculated, if there's an adjustable rate. And it will do something like this, where your money's coming in for your HELOC, or from your checking, it'll send it to your HELOC, and then it's going to look at all of the debts, and at the right time, it's going to pay off the correct one, okay? All right, so if you're not part of Renatus yet, which most of the people in our room are, here's a little food for thought, okay? If you just paid off, if you had $150 conventionally, you're just going to pay it off, and every month you're going to send it, because that's your discretionary income, you're going to send it to your mortgage. You could pay your mortgage off in 18 years if you religiously every single month did the 150 extra payment. That's great. That's great news, right? But if you had that same discretionary income and you bought the Extreme Combo Pack and you bought the software, I'm even assuming you bought the software, you're not trying to do it on your own, you'd actually pay it off in 15.1 years by just using the strategies that are debt elimination strategies that are taught at Renatus, and you could even get the software program included in that and actually reduce it to 15.1 years, okay? So what does it do? It combines math, motivation, and focus, and those are all important factors. Remember, it's simple but not easy, that analogy. It's like losing weight. Just exercise more, eat less. It's easy to say that to do, but actually do the numbers, it's a little bit more challenging. It integrates all those financial strategies. We call it a financial GPS. It tells you how to get to debt-free, the shortest route to get to debt-free. And though you can take vacations and things that will take you off course and buy furniture and whatever, it will also recalculate and always get you the fastest way to debt-free and to build wealth, okay? If you're interested in me sending you out some information on it, just probably best to email me, but take down my phone number if you like. That's my cell number. Please, 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 please don't text me after 9 o'clock. I sleep with my phone next to me because I have income properties that I manage, and I have children that don't live at home, all right? One away at college, the other one in California. I have that phone, so every time you text me in the middle of the night, you're waking me up. You may be awake, but guess what? I might not be awake. But I am now after your text, because it will wake me up, because I have to be, connected 24/7, okay? All right, so that's the information. You can email me there. And then, again, the Essentials has the mortgage acceleration curriculum in it. The AIT package has the advanced mortgage acceleration course in it. If you haven't joined us, why not? We'd love to have you a part of Renatus. And on that note, it's time, and I'll turn it back to closing for Bruce. Okay?